Hey, hello. How you doing? It's 4:20. Let's get high. So, um, since this is the last day of the year and the last actually hours of the year, which means in the Jewish cycle of the year, that beginning Rosh Hashanah, which is 2 days, and these 2 days represent the two hemispheres of the brain. And that's why Rosh Hashanah translates as the head of the year and not the beginning of the year. Because everything begins in the head. You have a thought, and then you have emotions, and and you end up doing something. So at the new year, God, the Creator, when we pray all year, we pray El HaKodesh. But during these 10 days, from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, are called the days of Malkiot, of royalty, of kingship, and we call God Hamelech instead of El, Hamelech instead of Kain, Hamelech. Which what does the Melech do? The Melech what does the king do? He makes decrees. And this is the decree for the coming year, that everything begins in the head of the year. And for that reason, on this day, we do not, on these 2 days, where we don't get anything bad. We don't think bad. We don't talk bad, certainly. You're only supposed to, say psalms, and pray. The prayers are very loud, and blow the shofar, and it's a beautiful holiday. Most Jewish holidays are rather consuming and take a lot out of you, but they certainly give a lot to the person. And also what happens is, see, the previous decree from the previous year runs out, and there's no new decree. So we're kind of in this place. And what does God do? God then becomes the judge. And God then judges us. For the whole year, God doesn't judge us. God is interested in our stories and listens to our prayers and makes some adjustments in heaven. Because heaven and earth, that's creation. God is neither. But on these 2 days, which are considered the birthday of the earth, and so all the human beings, we come from the earth. And so this is the time that the earth gets a year older. Certainly, the earth has been around longer than 5,781 years. But the purpose of the earth began 5,781 years when the first human being was created by the Creator out of the dust of the earth. And we're all part of that original human being who was androgynous and broken up into gender and taken to the Garden of Eden as a fire being. There was tested, failed, and sent back to the earth 130 years later to spend the next 6,000 years picking up all the sparks that had fallen because the human being failed the test. Both human beings, male and female. And so we've been down to almost 6,000 years is up, only 218 years left until the 1,000 years of woman in peace. And these are these days ahead of us are days that are transitioning from the 6,000 into the seventh day, just like on the week. There's 6 days of the week, and the seventh day of Shabbat, which is the day of rest. And so, anyways, I just wanted to do. I don't even know if I'm going to do it for 30 minutes, but I just wanted to do this show because it's really it's the last show. Look, I figure, I've done this for quite a while, and I need to do something else. So I'm going to stop doing it, particularly now because you got 3 weeks of holidays: Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the 7 days of Sukkot, and Torah. It's a whole big thing, and I really want to be focused on that. And this was kind of fun, but didn't really break through to anything. So, but anyways, I did want to wish to anyone who comes by to have a very sweet year, a nice year. And because this is the time that God decrees for us. And there's so many really, just really horrible things happening in the world. Everyone knew it was going to happen, but the rich people wanted to push this thing as far as they could until they can't push it anymore. And then they would have all the money in the world. And when everything breaks, they can go out and buy it all. But that ain't going to happen. And what is going to happen is we're going to learn to adapt. And instead of going faster, we're going to go slower. And the slower we go, the better it will be for our planet, the better it will be for all human beings. And we'll let this, this energy going forth, start to not suddenly end, but to slow and to slow. And as it slows, that's when all the wealth will start trickling down. Because, in order for this thing to work, it's based on excess. And excess is what is killing our planet. And once they stop moving forward, this is the end of progress. Progress has become a disease. We have produced everything, anything that a person could imagine, we have produced it. And we have to stop and look around and look at, why, who had to pay for this. And the real people who paid for it were the simple people, the people who didn't want to have $1 million. They just wanted to have a life. They were happy just to have a family, let that be their human experience. But, the rich could never get rich enough. They wanted to suck away every penny that there is, make everyone work. And even now, the world in such a desperate strait, they're still planning to try to compete with China. And these things are ridiculous, and people aren't going to do them anymore. And it will be the slowing down and making life simpler that is going to really bring pleasure to the human being. They give us Labor Day, one day, a year we can take off and not work. They treat the American people like slaves. And we've built all of this, and we keep all of this running. And, they're always like, putting out these, good jobs for the middle class, but they don't care nothing about poor people. And I think, it's not any, people I think don't have a stomach for being what they're offering, which is basically, hey, you can have some money, you can get on the party train, and everyone else can live in poverty. And, we see that was done over these 50 years. And, now it's over, particularly with 40 years since Reagan. And we see what it's done, what it's done to the world, what's done to the human being, how they've made these horrible wars, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and we wonder why God is dumping on America. We deserve it. We've made so much chaos. We've caused so much death in the world and cared nothing about anybody but ourselves. It's been America first lot longer than the latest whatever. And and now it's going to stop. It's going to stop because people are just not going to put up with this shit. And no matter what they do, no matter what they proclaim, people in their essence are good. And no one wants to live under these draconian laws, these horrible things that people are doing. And just to try to retain power, they're like, like the Titanic is going up and going down, and they want to go up to the highest point on the, the ship as it's going down. They want to be the last ones to go down. But the truth is, no one has to go down. It's not the Titanic. It's not, we just have to make some really simple changes, that respects the human being and respects the planet. I mean, we've all seen what this has, all the lies that they've perpetuated out there about what the future can be. The only future they ever saw was they own everything. And then they'll do what they want. But the truth is that people, they really don't know. They have no idea what to do. And because, they've tried not just to destroy the world, but to destroy, spirit. But spirit and the human spirit, like little blades of grass, and they keep pushing through the cement. And until, they have to keep paving it over and paving it. They paved over the world with so many lies. These are the lies of Rome. Everything that Rome says is a lie, from their religions to their ancient gods to their technology and science and everything, history. It's all one big fucking lie. And that's why they have to keep paving it over. And we see it in our political things going on in this country, how they're just, they just keep perpetuating bigger and bigger lies. And supposedly, when finally someone has to be, held for something, it will be the biggest lie, not all the other lies. And those other lies will become, oh, that was just like normal. And, so the whole thing is just sinking. It's sinking under its own weight. And what will replace it will be something that will be more generous, kind, slower, simpler, that encourages the human being to help one another and love one another. And, we just, the main thing is that we should be sensitive to the agenda of women. It doesn't mean that women are so much greater than men, but it does mean that women, that their time has come after 6,000 years. And it's like birth. And we have to attend to our women. We have to treat them right. We have to get them up off the street. We have to give them places, not shelters where they can sleep, but individual rooms. We have to take hotels and make them into like individual rooms so people can just come in and sleep. The day, the night, just go in and have a good sleep, get themselves washed, and change their clothes and go out into the world. We don't have to have like a poverty thing, because the hardest thing of being on the street, frankly, is sleep, and the next, keeping clean, but sleep is the big one. And we have to build tiny houses where people can be more mobile. And if they lose everything, it won't be so much. It'll just be a little thing. You can get another one. And this should be like this is what we should build in America. Forget building rockets or supersonic trains. We need to build tiny houses so everyone can live somewhere. And from there, we can really, cure our society. And, and now that the year is changing in a couple hours, and we should really ask the Creator, because that's the real prayer. See, it's asking the Creator. We don't pray to heaven. We don't pray to angels or to any kind of spiritual being. We pray to the Creator because the Creator is here for everybody all the time, everywhere, to everybody. And people should take these 2 days, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish, because these 2 days are the new year of the earth. And the human being, we're all made of earth, and we'll all return to earth. And we should ask God not just for a blessing for ourselves and for our neighbors and our friends, but also for the earth. The earth really needs a blessing, and she is angry, and she is upset, and she's puking here and there, and everyone's going, wow, man, what's going on? And what's going on is we've treated Mother Earth in such a bad way, such a destructive way, such a disrespectful way, that God had to send us kavod, which translates in Hebrew as respect. And these guys in politics, they're still trying to like make this thing run again, but it ain't going to, because there's no need for it. It has destroyed the world, and we can destroy it simply by stop buying into it. Every little bit helps. Everything that you cannot, you can do without, just do without. For a long time, I felt like having days of, just like fasting from buying. There's days of no buying to show the clout of the human being, and to get this wealth of America put into things that are immediately going to help people: water, sewage, tiny houses, any kind of houses. These are the main things, not going up into outer space, not fighting a war in some place we shouldn't be. We should be bringing all our soldiers home. Let people work their shit out, and they'll work it out better if we stop selling them weapons. I mean, and we have to, wean ourselves from this, military industrial complex. They made a lot of money from this shit, all these wars. They bought the Congress, they made their laws, and we see what they did. They don't care nothing about the people. So we don't have to care nothing about them. This is revolution. We are not going further. And they don't own this country, and their religious dogma, it doesn't rule this country, and their phony judges don't rule this country. We the people, we rule the country. And we the people, we're a good people, because we're made up of people from everywhere on the earth, live here in the United States, because we're united as being all different. We're all immigrants, we're all beautiful, and we're all kind. We all have the same human kindness. And there are people among us who are crazy, and there are people among us who are just bad. And we're not going to fix it by rushing into the future, but we are going to fix it, by slowing down and taking care of our neighbor. And if we put that vision before the Creator during these 2 days, which are Rosh Hashanah, the new year of the earth, it's a new year of the water and trees in the winter when the sap goes up, and then the springtime, that's the new year of the human being, and summer is the new year of the animal. We all kind of count our things differently. But for this new year, it's on this day that the human being was created, on Rosh Hashanah, on the 6th day of creation, and that was the first day of Tishrei. And it's interesting that the first word in the Torah is a Bereshit, which letters can be turned around to read Aleph Tishrei. The first day of Tishrei, that's what begins the calendar. We're 5,781, almost completed, going into 82. And I hope, it's a good year, for everyone and for the earth. And, if we slow down, then the winds will slow down and the heat will slow down. And rich people won't be so rich because no one wants their shit. And we will have a more moderate time, and we will have seen in history what happens when you let go of all restraints and push this earth and the human being as far as they can be pushed, to the point where it destroys the earth, and we will hopefully have learned our lesson. But the earth is alive. It says that the planets, they have more cognizance of the Creator than the human being. But the human being has freedom of choice. And at the very advent of the human being, 5,781, almost 82 years ago, that God gave to the human being to have rulership over the earth. What we do goes. Of course, you have to deal with nature, and if we really go against nature, then nature is going to go against us. But that's our choice. If that's what we want to do, it's like a child in a room. You want to rip up your room, or you want to sit and do something productive. And each person is going to have to decide for themselves. And hopefully decide together that we want to be good human beings. We don't want to go to the moon. We don't want to fight some war with someone across the world that we don't really care about. We only care about ourselves, and all the destruction and the, and we're paying back now. People are dying from COVID, from and this arrogance is going to keep our country sick, until, we decide that, hey, maybe we were wrong. Maybe this is not the way to go. Maybe we were too arrogant. Maybe we need some humility. And, when God gets angry at the Jewish people, God throws us more Torah. Here, learn more. And the Torah needs to be available. There's so many truths in the world that need to be available, so that people, at least will have the information to make the truth, and they won't be wallowing in the lie anymore. So I really want to try to do something beyond this kind of 420 thing, and I want to take these 3 weeks of holidays to try to figure out what I want to do, how I want to try to break through this. And, my book, actually, Zohar, Beyond the Black Hole, and another edition of my book, Sex, A Metaphor to History, have come out, and Zohar book actually got a lot of views in these different publications, over 100 of them, like printed the press release, which is pretty cool. And with some other ideas coming up, but I feel that the knowledge in the Torah is so necessary to the world at this time that if anyone has any ideas of how to take this further, well, I'd love to have a radio show where people could call in. That would be rad. That would just be very cool. But things like that are hard to come by, and you never know who's going to respond to what. And but I'm open to all ideas. Please keep in contact with me through my website, dovidhouse.com, where I have some really cool books, and I have a course on Udemy, and I have essays and podcasts that I've done, and a whole bunch of stuff. So, well, it's a little bit early, but I don't have so much more to say. And if anyone has a parting question, because I'm not going to be continuing this afterwards, now would be the time. I see there are a couple of people here, but I kind of I've always done it to 30 minutes. I guess I should. I've been doing this for quite a number of months now. And it's good to go do something else. That's the whole day of cycles. That you finish one cycle, and I did someone's tarot card reading, and it showed ending. And I tried to assure them that cycles end within a relationship. And when they do, and you kind of see what the whole thing is, the question is, do you want to go for another cycle? And the same with God. We do a cycle in the year, and now we come to the end, and the sun is going down, and begins the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, where God will make proclamations for the earth and everyone who lives on the earth, because we're all from the earth, of the earth. Will go back to the earth, and when our soul leaves, goes up into heaven, we'll have to give not an excuse, but we'll have to explain for their actions in this world, and how they could have stood by and let our world be destroyed without taking action, and how we spent all our time, just entertaining ourselves without feeling that we have any responsibility to do things in the earth or for our brethren, whoever they are. We're all from the same human being. And anyways, as long as God gives me to be on this earth, I'm going to try to say these things and bring these things to the world, because they're things that really people can agree about. But the people of authority are not saying them, and are for not forbidding, but making it difficult for other people to be heard. But in the end, God will be heard, and all the things that are predicted will happen, and the human being will either be proud or ashamed of the part they took in bringing about what is considered the final redemption from Rome, that when what will change from that for the Jewish people, and really for all people, there will be only one king in the world, and that will be the Creator. And we'll all have a basic understanding that the Creator loves us all and is available to us all the time. And the books of prophecy are there to help people in their lives, not to make demands upon people. These are advices. These are not proclamations, or and we can live and be proud of who we are and give something beautiful to our children. So have a wonderful year, everyone, and thank you for hanging around with me for all this time. And see you on the other end someday.